Without further ado, let's get to Cenat. All hell broke loose yesterday. 9/11-2 is what people are saying. I mean, I'm joking, obviously. Cenat, who is a YouTuber, according to some of the news outlets that covered it, which I was happy with, but also a Twitch streamer, one of my peers, one of my coworkers, wanted to do a meet and greet at Union Square. And of course, predictably as things goes with influencer events in an uncontrolled environment, it turned into fucking bedlam. Covered it live. There were aspects of the coverage that I did not see until later, but worked off of the official statements from the police. Ultimately, as far as I understand, approximately 2,000 people went to Union Square, a lot of teenagers, and they got rowdy. They got rowdy even before Kai showed up or got out of his van. He was not able to even go out into public for an extended period of time. I was worried about crowd crush potentially because it got really, really hectic. And of course, it ended with Cenat being apprehended by cops, being escorted by cops originally, and then being placed under police custody and only getting out later that night. The police seemingly want to throw the book at him. Obviously, there is a, the reception and the analysis that is a little bit different than what you would see in previous iterations of similar things. But let's take a look.
They just went up on right here, walking against.
Now
I mean, it was hectic. It was crazy. It was chaotic.
They just went up on right here, walking against traffic, like raging.
From climbing on top of a subway station roof to spraying a fire extinguisher, a crowd of thousands turns destructive after a social media giveaway goes horribly wrong.
This event grew exponentially.
We heard some flash bombs going off. We saw firecrackers being set off.
Tonight, a sea of damage, debris, and a jarring reminder of the sheer power of social media.
We have encountered things like this before.
Why funny? I mean, it's funny because the worst aspects of it are that people fucked up cars. I think there was a dude that like took control over like one of the trucks, but ultimately, regardless of what they are making it seem, as far as like riots goes, it could have been significantly worse. You know what I mean? People could have fucking died in the crowd crush. People could have been trampled. You know what I mean? Like, people could have actually died. Considering the worst possible outcomes that could have happened, this is basically nothing. You know what I mean? It is infinitely tame by comparison, and it is very similar to every other type of event that's happened where an influencer goes to a public area and tries to set up a meet and greet. Now, of course, the media is sensationalist as fuck. The way things started off was Kai announcing a meet and greet where he was going to give people PS5s, gift cards, and streaming equipment, or gift cards to purchase streaming equipment, okay, at Union Square. His assessment of the situation that it was that there would be 500 people. That's what he said, at least, leading up to the event, which would have still had the capacity to be like a chaotic environment. Never to this degree, though. And he absolutely should have prepared better. There's a reason why these kinds of situations are often conducted in a controlled environment. The example I can give you is Mr. Beast's Mall of America launch for Mr. Beast Burgers. There were thousands of people at that mall, but it was a controlled environment. There was security. You know what I mean? It didn't turn into a fucking insane situation for that reason.
Tonight, the cleanup is underway after that mob of thousands of young people got out of control. People packed the streets in a dangerous scene. So concerning, subway trains had to bypass Union Square.
Tonight, 65 people are under arrest, including 30 juveniles.
This is hilarious. Ron DeSantis had to take on and I'm losing it.
NYPD says city property and private cars were damaged and several people are recovering from injuries tonight. The influencer who sparked the mayhem is now facing charges, including inciting a riot.
We have team coverage of what happened, how police responded, and the role of social media in this mess.
Now, people fucking lose their shit on this because of like they're so geared towards like BLM riots, burning cities to the fucking ground or whatever. So immediately they're like, what is Hasan gonna say about this? I bet he's gonna fucking justify it. No, of course. This is a ridiculous situation. As a Twitch streamer, the fact that another Twitch streamer is capable of like causing such chaos in a weird way makes me feel like god damn, like that's like an incredible amount of fucking power. So no matter what kind of gathering you have, if you have 1,000 people, there's going to be some fucking crazy people in that situation. The fact that after all of this chaotic situation where police from 5 boroughs were called and 1,000 fucking militarized cops were deployed onto the event, onto the area, and the maximum amount of damage that they put down, because they have to justify that level of police action at a certain point, and local news and police basically work hand in hand on situations like this. The fact that they got 65 arrests, 30 juveniles, by the way, of which 30 were juveniles, like literally underage. It was city property and private cars damaged, which is bad. Of course, not good. Several injuries and influencers taken into custody is an overall very good outcome in comparison to how bad things could have been. It's very similar, I would say, in many respects to other prior influencer organized events that have gotten completely out of control. Logan Paul, Nelk Boys, and the like come to mind immediately. The major difference, however, that the media reception of it has been politicized in a different way. Not necessarily just that, like, oh, these are fans of a streamer that are getting unruly, but instead, this is now a political scenario. Now, of course, the reason why that is the case is because Cenat is black, and his audience and all of the fans that gathered there were predominantly black and brown. Let's continue.
Around 1:30 this afternoon, a crowd started forming in Union Square after social media influencer Cenat posted about a gaming system giveaway there. By 3 p.m., the NYPD says thousands had arrived. Then, chaos.
Once the people for the giveaway started coming out, that's when things started to get out of control. So people started pushing and stuff.
They didn't even get to give it away. They left right when everything happened.
They climbed to the tops of the subway station structures, up statues, traffic and lampposts, jumped on the tops of cars. A construction site in the park was damaged, and people weaponized items from that site like paint cans, bottles, axes, and shovels. They were lighting fireworks and flash bombs.
They just went up on right here, walking against traffic, raging.
Why stay when things turned chaotic?
I just feel like it was fun. For me, it's New York. It was literally YouTubers that came out to show love, and then it just got hectic.
Some businesses locked their doors as the crowd ran through. This 69-year-old man who operates a sidewalk food stand was injured. Items stolen. Where did they hit you, sir? The NYPD.
Yeah, that's fucked up. When I covered this yesterday, what I was talking about is the media saying that this is the absolute worst thing that could have fucking ever happened in New York. Yeah, obviously, I don't think that it's good that a fucking 65-year-old dude got hit in the head, okay? It's ridiculous. What I was talking about in that moment was the media being like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Look at the chips that got fucking taken. They literally show the stand. Look at this. They're like, he had his chips and his fucking almond joy stolen from him. This is 9/11 too. Yeah, that shit's fucked up. But also, what do you mean? If this is the worst thing that could have fucking happened with 1,000 cops being deployed, this is an overall infinitely less bad situation than every other fucking circumstance where there's riots, whether it be a sporting event or any kind of other influencer event. What's wild to me is that this is something that is portrayed in the coverage from local news, whereas this side of the equation has not. As far as I've seen, I haven't really seen a lot of local news cover the fucking police brutality that occurred against fucking minors. Like I said earlier on Twitter, the NYPD burns through $29 million of taxpayer money from your fucking wallets if you live in New York. Here's how that wonderful, geared up NYPD is behaving towards a dude. This kid in a red shirt, okay? Pay attention to that kid in the red shirt. The dude next to him hits the fucking back of the cab with something. Oh, I'm sure the cops will be normal about this. They got one. Let's take a look at what they do. The cop pulled a heat action? Yeah, Yakuza style, dude. You want to see that again? You want to see some normal behavior from fucking our boys in the blue, our brave boys in the blue, these fucking goddamn hot dogs over here? Look at this. You think that shit's normal, dude? You think that shit's valid? You think that shit's a reasonable use of force? You were so right when you said yesterday that we get a lot of videos from this incident due to the amount of Zoomers with smartphones present. Yeah. Yo, why are the cops rioting? Well, they're excited, you know? They got fucking deployed. They're heavily militarized. They got deployed. The event dispersed. They're now engaging in like additional crowd dispersal. And they're just protecting and serving. And for the record, my expectation of police is absolutely, like I set a infinitely higher standard for the police than I do a bunch of random fucking teenagers that are getting rowdy and wild, okay? That doesn't mean the rowdy teenagers that broke shit are good or right or righteous. Of course not. But that's insane that this is the professional method of like dispersing a crowd. So for every dumb motherfucker that's like, wow, Hasan doesn't care about the shop owner's plight or whatever, who is an innocent bystander that got caught up in the fucking crowd and got brutalized, and it's absolutely fucked up that happened. Like, where is your understanding of this? Because at that point, it becomes like a natural phenomena, okay? An event that completely gets out of control is basically almost like a fucking hurricane. These guys, however, are the people that are supposed to be managing the crowd. That's wild. That's insane. Devoid of context, your take on the shop owner looks bad, but you weren't excusing him being assaulted and robbed of. You were making an overarching point that the event was being sensationalized while being mild compared to other events of similar size. Exactly. Talking about the fucking media coverage of the situation. Here's the thing, though. Here's the props that I gave to the police as well, which you will not see in the fucking dumbass clip chimps. In the beginning, when there was a massive amount of wild crowds occurring, okay, they did a pretty decent job of not like exacerbating the situation and making it significantly worse. When they, and I said this yesterday numerous fucking times, which again, you will never fucking see on drama farming idiot circles, or people who are maliciously looking for a different angle to be like, yeah, fuck this guy, he sucks. But what they did, and I said this yesterday as well, was good. When they originally dispersed the crowd and pushed them aside piece by piece and did not tear gas them or do anything too much that would have actually created crowd crush and actually would have created a stampede, okay? That was good. That was a good thing that they did. Once that part was over, though, once the crowd had dispersed, once Kai was apprehended, taken to a precinct, they then started pushing people. Like, this kind of shit is completely fucking unacceptable. These are the professionals. Again, $29 million a day is their budget. You can't behave like this. You're not a fucking animal, okay? Cops are supposed to know better. Big part of the reason why it occurred, of course, is because of absolutely devastatingly negligent management. This is why I think you can't, if you're a streamer of especially Kai's size, you can't throw an event like this. You have to have proper protections in place, whether it be permits or on top of the permits, like actual fucking protocols, barriers, shit like that. You can't do that. You can't. This is what's going to always happen. The worst parts about the situation were the car driving away with like people fucking hanging onto it, as you can see here. Kind of funny that Ron DeSantis is tweeting about this. This is why we passed the strongest anti-riot law in the country. Florida doesn't tolerate lawlessness. This dude is 100%. He's not winning the presidency. Okay. He is not defeating Donald Trump. Little Rhonda is cooked. But yeah, this was definitely really fucking dangerous. Like really, really, really fucking dangerous. This shit is awful. Like the fans were like falling off the fucking, they're like running by the car. They're like falling off the cars. They're like trying to hang on and shit. Really stupid, really dangerous. But ultimately, I'm glad that nobody fucking died. And I'm glad that, the worst parts that could have happened were avoided. And as far as my perspective goes, yes, if you probably saw a clip of me undermining the event in and of itself, like, oh, and they were dancing in the fucking streets or whatever. I'm talking about the way that the media was covering it and how they were making it seem as though it was the most brutal, worst thing that happened in New York since 9/11. A bit of an overkill. Cops from 5 boroughs being fucking deployed to this one location. And then the worst parts of it that they could show was that kids were throwing construction material, water bottles, one of which hit a cop, and they engaged in property damage that was incredibly marginal in comparison to other riots that have occurred that was significantly worse.
Where did they hit you, sir?
Like, this is completely unacceptable.
The NYPD moved in surrounding the park, and Cenat was eventually taken out and taken in for questioning. He did not have a permit.
I think like a decent lawyer that Kai certainly has enough money to fucking pay for will make mincemeat out of the charges. Ultimately, regardless of how hard they throw the book at him, inciting a riot across the board is a Class A misdemeanor in the state of New York, which means maximum penalty for it is 364 days in prison. And, that will be plea bargained into oblivion and turn into nothing regardless, and a $1,000 fine. There was a level 4 police response, the highest there is before the military steps in, and the media's like, Dorito stand was vandalized. The atrocity of the losses are immeasurable. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, I love this this take from Brian Krasenstein, okay? NYPD smashes kid's head through windshield at Union Square. This video has gone viral from the Cenat riot in Manhattan, where 2 officers appear to pointlessly smash a kid's head through the rear windshield of a van. On the face of it, this video looks pretty bad. But the police appear to have thought that the kid was trying to break the windshield, but it appears they got the wrong kid. 2 individuals before him were hitting the windshield trying to break it. Okay, the police thought that he was trying to break the windshield, so they broke it with his head? What do you mean? The police thought he wanted to break the windshield, so they were like, not on my watch, pal. I'll break the windshield with your fucking face. They were trying to help the kid. Yo! If you zoom in and slow the video down, it appears that the first thing that hit the windshield was the officer's right hand, meaning the glass likely didn't break from the kid's face hitting it. Yo! As I mentioned above, the 2 kids prior to the one grabbed by the police were hitting the windshield. It's very possible the glass was already cracked when the officers slammed the kid against it, meaning any force at all would have caused it to crumble. We don't know the full context of this apprehension and only have a single angle video here. Dude, that's awesome. A cop could just literally walk up to a fucking kid and just dome them on sight, and Brian Krasenstein's like, well, we don't know the full angle here. Were the vibes fucked? Brian Krasenstein behaving like me whenever like I want to make a joke about something insane, and I'll just be like, well, I don't know. Okay, they aborted this baby, but like maybe the baby's fucking vibes were fucked. You know what I mean? Casey Anthony's children. But he's actually serious. That's the difference. Like, maybe the kid's vibes were off, you know? If the police did something wrong, I'm sure there will be some sort of internal review with facts. In the meantime, please stop pretending to know everything. The police, notoriously and famously good at investigating themselves whenever they do any kind of brutality.
NYPD smashes kid's head through windshield at Union Square. On the face of it, this video looks pretty bad. But NYPD...
I always love when people go, there's a lot more context to this situation than what you can gather from the video. But then they also follow it up with, like, their own perspective as they know everything that occurred. Brother, that doesn't make any sense. All you're saying at that point is like, I don't like the context that people are applying to the situation. Please focus on my narrative and my perspective instead, where I think in my mind the kid deserved to be slammed through a fucking window, while also simultaneously recognizing that they got the wrong kid. That's a quick wrap up on that issue.
The only Twitch streamer I know is Hasan. That's the only one. And why do I know Hasan? Because he plays my clips all the time, but then never invites me over to his house to eat hummus and play with his dog. So now I gotta sit here and watch YouTube clips of Hasan watching me while I look at his dog wanting to pet his dog. Honestly, it's not great. Not a great look.